Welcome. Tonight we're doing something we've never done before, Transitus, celebrating the Death Watch. You know what's interesting this year, 126 years ago tonight, she died. And it was a Saturday, September 30th, 1897. So it's interesting, we are back in the same pattern. Today is a Saturday, and it's the last Saturday of the month. In France, we do it's her feast day on the first. It used to be in the third. Got moved to the first. On France, they still do it the last Saturday of the month, no matter when that is. Her feast day is kind of there. They kind of honor that. So it's interesting. Tonight we're here at the same time, on the same date, and I'll talk about each of the pieces we're going to do in here. So for a moment, let's just presence ourselves. We've all been in the presence of people dying, struggling with life, ourselves sometimes. People who are overwhelmed by darkness. They can kill the spirit and the divine spark within us. So I invite you to stand in the presence of her relics here. And we're going to sing Holy Darkness. Holy darkness, blessed night, heaven's answer hidden from my sight. As we await you, O God of silence, we embrace your holy night. I have tried you in the fires of affliction. I have taught your soul to grieve. In the barren soil of your loneliness, there I will plant my seed. Holy darkness, blessed night, heaven's answer hidden from your sight. As we await you, O God of silence, we embrace your holy love. I've taught you the price of compassion. You have stood before the grave. Though my love can seem like a raging storm, this is the love that saves. Holy darkness, blessed night, heaven's answer hidden from our sight. As we await you, O God of silence, we embrace your holy night. In your deepest hour of darkness, I will give you wealth untold. When the silence stills your spirit, will my riches fill your soul? Holy darkness, blessed night, heaven's answer hidden from our sight. As we await you, O God of silence, we embrace your holy night. As the watchman waits for the morning, and the bride awaits her groom, as we wait to hear your footsteps as we rest beneath your moon. Holy darkness, blessed night, heaven's answer hidden from our sight. As we await you, O God of silence, we embrace your holy. As we gather on this special night, this sacred night, we have in front of us the menorah. We're going to use the theme of light and darkness because it was a time of darkness and a time of light renewed. And you'll see them in menorah. It's a symbol of the state of Israel. You know, it's been seven branch candlestick. We used to always have them. We never knew they were from the menorah because it means seven means wholeness. It means what shalom is about. Remember Jesus' first word after the resurrection, it's all healed. You're whole and you're complete. It's fullness. You know, if 7 is shalom, God is 14 in the Kabbalist of Islam. So tonight we're going to use that very much as a symbol. She lived to be wholehearted. She wanted to be totally alive in Christ. You know, and she struggled her life. She said nothing half-hearted. She wanted to be whole. She wanted to be light. And so we're going to do that. This will go on and will go off at different times. So that's what the 7-branch candlestick. And it's interesting, the last line was the moon. If you saw last night the harvest moon, that beautiful, beautiful harvest moon, that triggered off in Judaism the Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot. That's when they celebrate that God tabernacled with them, always in the desert. In fact, they all, stay outside. They sleep outside. They make a Sukkot. They make the booths. It's the Feast of Booths. And they make it and eat outside because they want to be outside. In the desert, they were looking for the green life. And that's what it is. And so it's interesting that same thing. We had that harvest moon. I was looking for it. It hasn't come up yet. But the other piece is, one of the things about Christianity is we have a Messiah that was crucified as a common criminal. People didn't get it. People were threatened by him. And Jesus was ultimately killed. And one of the things you get in his mouth at the end is, why have you abandoned me? In fact, he's saying Psalm 88. He knew them like we knew Christmas carols. So I want us together to pray Psalm 88 here. It's Jesus on the cross as we celebrate Therese letting go into the same darkness. Not trust, you don't know what's going to happen next. Remember, Jesus didn't know. She didn't know. She hoped as Jesus hoped. And so together let us pray. O Lord, my God, by day I cry out, at night I clamor in your presence. Let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to my call for help. For my soul is surfeited with troubles. My life draws near to the netherworld. I am numbered with those who go down into the pit. I am like a person without strength. My couch is among the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, and who are cut off from your care. You have plunged me into the bottom of the pit, into the dark abyss. Upon me your wrath lies heavy, and with your billows you overwhelm me. You have taken away my friends away from me. You have made me an abomination to them. I am in prison, and I cannot escape. My eyes have grown dim through affliction. Daily I call upon you. O Lord, I stretch out my hands. You do wonders for the dead. Will your shades arise to give you thanks? Do they declare your kindness in the grave, your faithfulness among those who have perished? Are your wonders made known in the darkness, or your justice in the land of oblivion? But I, O Lord, cry out to you. With my morning prayer I await you. O Lord, do you reject me? Why hide your face from me? I am afflicted and in agony from my youth. I am dazed with the burden of your dread. Your furies have swept over me. Your terrors have cut me off. They compass me like water all the day. On all sides they close in upon me. All day they surge around like a flood. Companion and neighbor, you have taken away from me. My only friend is darkness. You started? The lights. The lights. Yeah, lower the lights. Yeah, that's what I told you right there. Why don't you be seated as we begin a reflection? One thing we all know about Therese is she needed to be noticed and seen. You know, she's an Enneagram 4. They are special and they want to be acknowledged as special. And we all know her story quickly. You know, that even as a child, when she had to go in the steps or go upstairs, and she'd say, "Mama, Mama." And if Mama didn't say yes, Therese, she just stayed there. But even when she did, so she said, "Yes, Therese," then she'd go to the next step, "Mama, Mama." Yes, Therese, all the way up. Every entrance, to be noticed. She gained her value by being seen. All of us have different things by which we know. And so her spiritual journey was about being known by Jesus. Does God know me? Does God know me who I am or in my imperfection? But she experienced many moments of disappointments and abandonments, which she surrendered to God and learned to trust God was there with her and within her, even when hidden. The dark nights haunt all of us at times, don't they? Jesus experienced it. Therese certainly did. We all do. They are times of trust and surrender amid powerlessness. It's the times we face our mortality. In the last 18 months of her life, she experienced the absence of God. Not that God was absent. She didn't experience it. Those felt moments of knowing. They stretch our trust that God's presence is there without confirming signs. As she did with trusting the smile of the Virgin Mary, healing her mother abandonment issues without the desired confirmation, she had to trust that God was always and already present, even hidden in elusive ways. When her TB came back, she was confined to the infirmary on July 8th, 1897. Her only tangible sense of God reaching out to her was receiving Holy Communion several times a week when the chaplain came. But in the third week, she vomited the host and was informed that she could no longer receive the Blessed Sacrament. Her last divine connection was taken away. Darkness even gets darker at times, and we've all had that sometimes when the things we were counting on aren't there anymore. Her faith and her trust in God emerged in her greatest teaching. Everything is grace, because now my longing for you is even stronger. Darkness longs for light. Therese tried to be her cheerful self. She was a very happy girl. I mean, they all loved her because she really had a she had a very positive approach to life despite some of the expectations. And even at the end, she was trying to live in constant expectation of the imminent coming of the thief, as she referred to Jesus, that he was going to come and sweep her away, steal her. For he is the one who will break the web of this sweet encounter. This dying of love, as St. John of the Cross described it, had always been her hope. The curtains or drapes that surrounded her bed for privacy were black. So she was surrounded by darkness that only resonated deeper with the dark emptiness within her. Her sister Pauline, now Mother Agnes, talked with her. Mother Agnes said,
"Are you afraid now that death is so close?"
Therese.
Less and less.
Mother Agnes, do you fear the thief? This time he is at... Oh, you go.
Do you fear the thief? This time he is at the door.
Therese.
No, he is not at the door. He has entered. But what are you saying, little mother? How can I fear one whom I love?
Therese never ceased spitting up blood, suffering from her head and her side, even vomiting the prescribed milk. Her weakness increased significantly. Eventually, she predicted,
I feel that my mission is about to begin. My mission of making others love God as I love him. My mission of teaching my little way to souls. If God answers my request, I will spend my heaven doing good on earth.
As time went on, she experienced much coughing and difficulty breathing, chest pains, swollen limbs, and intestinal pains. Exhausted, she told Mother Agnes,
what would become of my God, did not give me courage. What grace it is to have faith. If I had no faith, I would have inflicted death on myself without hesitating a moment.
She actually asked the sisters to remove the pain-killing medications they left there, lest she use it to shorten her pain and to commit suicide. That's how bad she was. She recognized her own limitations clearly, and she accepted the humiliations of her state of weakness with its weakness, tears, and impatience. And struggling to breathe, she explained,
oh, how happy I am to see myself imperfect and to be in God's mercy so much, even at the moment of my death.
Her simplicity came forth as she whispered,
everyone will see that everything comes from God. Any glory that I shall have with a gratuitous gift from God and will not belong to me.
Her hunger, it came back briefly, and she asked for a chocolate eclair with fresh cream in it. As hours passed, she was suffocating, and she could only speak in chopped phrases.
Mama, earth's air is leaving me. When will God give me the air of heaven? My breathing has never been so short.
Therese reached the end of her way to the cross like a tired traveler, staggering at the end of a long journey. And she whispered. Moments of uncertainty surfaced in her as she spoke.
I'm afraid. I have feared death. I am not afraid of what is happening after. It is into God's arms that I am falling. That is certain. I don't regret giving up my life. But I asked myself, what is this mysterious separation of the soul from the body? It is the first time that I have experienced this, but I abandoned immediately to God.
As she was breathing with even greater difficulty, the prioress gathered the sisters to recite the prayers for the dying at the hour of death. Therese asked the prioress,
Mother, is this the agony? What should I do to prepare for death? Never will I know how to die.
And a little later,
what happiness if I could die right now, when I am going to suffocate entirely. I cannot stand it anymore. Pray for me, Jesus, Mary. I will it.
And pointing to the statue of the Virgin Mary, she said,
I have prayed fervently to her, but it is pure agony. There is no consolation.
The afternoon of Saturday, September 30th, she suddenly seemed to have more energy, and she lifted herself up on her bed, saying,
see how strong I am today. No, I'm not going to die. I still have months, perhaps years.
She was undergoing the final struggles or the most terrible agony. And she whispered,
I no longer believe in death for myself. I believe only in suffering well. Well, so much the better. Oh my God, I love you. I love you, God. Oh God, good blessed Mother, come to my aid. If this is the agony, then what is death? God is very good, but if you but realized what it is to suffocate, my God, have pity on me, your little child.
And to the prioress Mother Gonzaga, Therese said,
Oh, Mother, I assure you, the chalice is filled to the brim. God is surely not going to abandon me. He has never abandoned me before. Yes, my God, everything that I will, but have pity on me. Little sisters, my little sisters, pray for me. My God, you are so good. Oh, yes, you are good. I know it. Yes, it seems I have never looked for anything but the truth. I have understood humility of heart. It seems that I am humble. Everything I have written on my desire for suffering is true. I do not regret having surrendered myself to love. Oh no, I don't regret it, just the opposite.
But Mother Agnes relates, I was alone with her about 4:30 in the afternoon. I thought her end was approaching when I saw the sudden pallor in her face. Mother Prioress returned, and soon the whole community was assembled around her bed. She smiled at the sisters. However, she did not say anything until her death. For more than 2 hours, the terrible death rattle tore in her chest. Her face was flushed, her hands were purple, and her feet were as cold as ice. She was shivering in her limbs. Huge beads of perspiration stood out in her forehead and rolled down her cheeks. It was becoming increasingly difficult for her to breathe. When she tried to catch her breath, she uttered little cries. Therese smiled at her sister Geneviève, who dried her forehead and passed a piece of ice over her parched lips. When the Angelus bell rang at 6 o'clock in the evening, Therese looked at the Virgin of the Smile for a long time. She was holding her crucifix firmly. As the community had been almost 2 hours in the infirmary, the prioress allowed the sisters to leave. And Therese sighed,
Mother, isn't this the agony? Am I not going to die?
Yes, my poor child, but perhaps God wills to prolong it for several hours.
Well, all right. I would not want to suffer a shorter length of time.
And then her head fell back at the pillow and was turned toward the right. The prioress had the infirmary bell rung, and all the sisters quickly returned. Open all the doors, Mother Marie de Gonzaga ordered. Hardly had the community knelt at her bedside when Therese pronounced very distinctly, while gazing at her crucifix,
Oh, I love him. In a moment.
And a moment later,
my God, I love you.
And suddenly her eyes came to life and were fixed on the spot just above the statue of the Blessed Virgin. Her face took on the appearance it had when Therese enjoyed good health. She seemed to be in ecstasy. This look lasted for the space of a credo, and then she closed her eyes and expired. It was 7:20 in the evening. Her head was leaning to the right. And the only miraculous thing that ever happened in her life is a mysterious smile came to her lips. She appeared very beautiful. It was evident in the photograph taken by Celine right after her sister's death. In the program, there's the second to last picture on the third page. When they took her outside, she was emaciated. She looked like she came out of Dachau, because they called it consumption. She was, she was slight anyway, and the thing had eaten her away. And that's important. But then what happened was amazing. And Celine had taken the picture. She had the camera. That as soon as she died, when they took the body there, she snapped back. And that's the last one, the last picture in the back. And there's that smile. She kept saying, I'm not dying, I'm going to life. She knew there was more than what we experience in this life, and she wasn't afraid, even though she was afraid of the pain that was killing her and gagging her. But she had to ultimately surrender. My God, I love you. And so that's what she's doing here. This window represents that. It's always glowing all night. When the divine spark is within us, and that God who is always and already present within us, we do glow. And we're supposed to make the world a brighter place. Jesus said to be the light of the world. And that's what she is to us. That's what she is to so many. And so her death taught us to let go and surrender to a bigger life. That is God's life already present within us, but explodes in a kind of light. And so as we relight the menorah, we celebrate the fact that she was fully alive again. What we celebrate. You want to light it? Eric, you going to light it? The harvest moon, when you go out tonight, will remind you that God always tabernacles with us. He sets his booth with us. He sets his tent with us. I am always with you. Even in the times of the desert and darkness and stuff, I am always with you. Trust me. Trust me. And so our closing song is going to be God's love song to her and her love song to God. I have loved you. Okay, you want to stand? I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. Seek the face of the Lord and long for him. He will bring you his light and his peace. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. Seek the face of the Lord and long for him. And his hope. I will have loved you with an everlasting love. Hold you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Hold you, and you are mine. Seek the of the Lord and long for his care and his love. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you. As she was reclaimed by God as a bright light in the communion of saints, she reminds us, as that banner says, I am your sister, your friend. I am always with you. She shows us how to be holy and whole and light. Thank you for coming.